Welcome to Chase Talks. My name's Chase, broadcasting to you from Special Fire Cathedral 8. Over the past few weeks, I've been watching the anime Fire Force as it airs in English dub on Adult Swim's Toonami. And while watching these episodes that aired over the last few weeks, there was one character in particular who caught my attention. This character is Karim Flam. Now, for those of you who haven't seen Fire Force, the universe revolves around three kinds of human characters. The first are characters known as second generation, who can manipulate and control existing fires. The second are known as third generation, who can create their own fire. And the third are characters who have no superpowers at all whatsoever. Karim is a second generation, but that's not what makes him interesting. Rather, what makes him interesting is that he is able to absorb fire with his musical instruments, turn the heat into sound, and then use the sound waves to freeze things through a process known as thermoacoustic refrigeration. Seeing him repeat this over a few episodes made me wonder, would this actually be possible? Could he actually use the heat of these fires to freeze things in real life? And that is the exact question that we are going to be answering on this episode of Chase Talks. Also, before we begin, I've included links to all the sources I've used throughout this video in the description in case you'd like to do more research on this topic on your own. Now let's hop straight into the discussion and answer the question, could Karim Flam freeze things in real life? Instrumental to this question is establishing whether or not thermoacoustic refrigeration actually exists. And you may be surprised to find out that it actually does. Thermoacoustic refrigeration is the process by which you use heat to create sound waves and use those sound waves to freeze something, or at the very least keep it refrigerated. Now, freezing something with sound energy isn't as easy as setting a surround sound speaker against a bowl of water and BAM! Suddenly you have ice cubes. This process is heavily dependent on the sound wave's decibels or loudness. Based on research done by Matt Pose and Steve Garrett at Pennsylvania State in 2002, they were able to produce a freezer that could produce sound levels as high as 173 decibels, creating a temperature as low as -8 degrees Celsius. Just for some context on just how intense 173 decibels is, a rock concert produces about 115 decibels, while a jet engine, on the other hand, produces 140 decibels. If we compare the jet engine, for example, we find that the Penn State freezer is 33 decibels louder. Since decibels are a logarithmic unit, if we use the 3 and 10 rule for decibels, we find that this means the freezer produces sound that is 2,000 times more intense than a jet engine. That's some power. So for Karim Flam to actually freeze something with his instrument, it would need to be outputting sound around that 173 decibel mark. Remember, that is for a temperature of -8 degrees Celsius, though there is some wiggle room here, but not much. And since I couldn't find a study that gave me the decibels for 0 degrees Celsius, I'm going to set that as our target. So now that we know our target, we'll determine whether or not this would actually be possible for Karim's instrument to produce. Throughout the episodes I've watched, and my searching across the internet, I have not been able to find anything that cites the exact type of instrument Karim's horn is. But it is clearly a brass instrument, so we can start there for approximating the decibels. Something like this could output. To me, his instrument reminds me of a giant marching French horn. If we look at the decibels a normal-sized French horn can output, it peaks at around 106, which is way under our 173 target. But this French horn is clearly not a normal French horn. It's much, much, much larger. So if we instead compare it to a larger brass instrument, like a trombone, we're peaking at about 115 decibels, which is still a galaxy far, far away from our 173 target. But Karim's instrument is even larger than that, being nearly the size of his entire body. Well, then let's compare it to the instrument that holds the Guinness Book of World Records record for being the loudest musical instrument in the world and see if that even comes close. The instrument I'm referring to is the Atlanta Boardwalk pipe organ, and it not only holds the world record for being the loudest instrument, but also holds the world record for being the largest pipe organ as well. This pipe organ, comprised of 33,114 pipes, is able to produce sound up to 130 decibels. Now this is still 43 decibels below the target, meaning that the sound created by Karim Flam's giant French horn would need to be 20,000 times more intense than the loudest instrument in the world. Based on the research I've done, it actually seems more feasible for him to gather the amount of thermal energy he'd need to create the sound energy than actually have his instrument output the sound at this 173 decimal mark. That he actually needs to freeze something. Another prototype created by Matt Pose and Steve Garrett at Penn State University in 2004 was able to use 321 watts of thermal energy to reach a cold temperature of negative 24.6 degrees Celsius. For context, a candle can burn at 80 watts, which is similar to a light bulb. This means that he'd have to maintain a constant thermal energy equivalent to 4.1 candles, which doesn't seem very difficult for a man that can control existing fire at will. Honestly, if Karim wanted to freeze something in real life, he'd have better luck powering a thermoacoustic refrigerator with his powers than using his giant French horn. Now this brings us back to our question, could Karim Flam actually freeze something in real life using thermoacoustic refrigeration? Yes, he could. But could he do it with the various musical instruments he uses in the anime? No, he couldn't. Also, another interesting fact that I'll leave here right at the end is that short-term exposure to 140 decibels can cause permanent hearing damage, while 180 decibels leads to the death of hearing tissue. This means that while Karim shields his allies from the fire, he would actually be causing them all to go deaf. But that's going to be it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comment section below if you've been watching Fire Force and what you think of the anime so far. I'm probably going to do a Better Late Than Never review on the anime once its Toonami run is over, the English version of course. So I'm interested to know what other people's opinions are on the anime thus far. Also remember to like the video and subscribe so you never miss another episode of Chase Talks. And until next time, this is Chase, signing off!